We got Matt Lutovsky in the house to sort of parse through all of the different stories that we've had over the last 24, 48 hours as far as some of these indiscretions in Major League Baseball, see how they potentially affect the future. Also, this funny story, honestly a funny story in the NBA, I think. I don't know, maybe you guys don't think so. Let's bring in Matt. We'll get his certainly opinion on some of these. Matt, let's start with the Shohei Ohtani story. It is now over. I got a statement in my email yesterday out of nowhere from one of Ohtani's representatives, so I'm assuming that's it. Dodgers released a statement too. What's crazy to me, Matt, we have seen so many other stories and so many other investigations take years. How in the world did they get this open and shut in 2 months?
Yeah, that's a great question. I remember when this was originally developing, and I thought, man, this is going to be basically what you said. This is going to go on for a while. We're going to get twists, turns. He said, and here we are, early June, case closed, nothing to see here, moving on, stop asking questions, stop looking into this. And I mean, it sounds like it is, certainly, with you plead guilty, and it seems like that's that. Major League Baseball has concluded Shohei had nothing to do with it. I still think there might be more we find out here and there, some drips and drops. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. And especially when you look at the sheer amount of bets he put into play, and his wins and his losses are staggering. And you just think, well, at some point, Shohei Ohtani had to know something was up, even if someone else was managing his money. And this guy was very good at developing his, sneaky plan. But apparently not. And apparently this is what went down. And I guess we're all going to move on because, the Dodgers told us to move on. Major League Baseball told us to move on. The courts told us to move on. And I guess the good news is we have enough other cases to move on to, because it seems like there's a new one every day, at least when it comes to betting indiscretions by a professional athlete.
Yeah, we sort of see it the same way here. And, to me, as I've said on the early line this morning, and I've said constantly, on any level in this day and age of technology and whatever banking app you use, to think that that Ohtani would never log on to his app to see that $500,000 was removed from his account, and then it happened again. It happened again, and I had no idea. I don't know.
Or get an alert, something.
No alert. You set the alert. All right, let's set it to over 599,000. That's the only thing I'm interested in. When that goes, then tell me. So I know we're being cynical here, but you and I see it the same way. Okay, so speaking of cynical, the way that a lot of people are viewing this player that is now banned for life, Tucupita Marcano, the cynical comments are, this guy won 4% of his bets. Like, what is he doing? He threw his whole baseball career away to be a horrible gambler. My gosh, this is just, I mean, to me, that's a bigger story, I think, for some of these players out there. You even had access to sort of know what your team potentially could throw out there in terms of a starting lineup every day and pitchers and maybe who's available and all that. And you still couldn't even win. So why do this? I don't get why this keeps happening, Matt.
Yeah, I know. And it's like you want to see the bets at that point. Was he just betting on crazy things? Was he going for wild parlays and just going, for something big, trying to strike it rich on one big bet? I don't know. I am fascinated by it because you originally hear the story, you go, okay, guy bet on baseball. That's not cool. Don't do that. But you at least kind of get it. You're in the sport. You're not playing. He's on the DL. He's going to make some bets. He thinks he has insider knowledge. And then you see that winning percentage and you're like, are you kidding me? I could do better than that. What's going on here? So it's a very strange story. And, I almost feel bad for him because he didn't put that much money into play, at least comparatively to some other stories we've heard. And he didn't do well. And like you said, he threw away. I don't know how much longer his career had, at least at the major league level. But nonetheless, he was a young guy. And to see this is just kind of unfortunate and foolish. And it just leads to more questions. I think I want to see these bets. I want to know what he was betting on too, because staggeringly low winning percentage.
Yeah, it's not even the word for it. Under 10%. I mean, you're right. He probably was betting 25-1 that 20 runs are scored tonight. And he did it every day. It was the only thing I could come up with there. All right, so we've seen stuff like this in the movies. Guy trying to leave the country, get out of town, got to pay some people back. I'm being accused of something. I think that this guy who was helping Jontay Porter allegedly on some of his wagers must have caught wind that they were coming after him. There's no other reason, Matt, for this guy to get caught. Whether or not he was on a list of some kind still remains to be seen. I don't know if they were trying to find him, but you don't go to the airport with a duffel bag and cash and a one-way ticket unless you plan on never coming back, correct?
Yeah, I would think so. The three cell phones, that's always a tip off. Anytime people have a lot of devices, and it's just a weird story for sure. And yeah, it's just one of those things. I think you said it before. It's like you see in the movies, and I think we're at the stage in the movie where the investigators are trying to get someone to flip on the other person, and it just feels like that's where we're at. But I was reading a little more into that story, and in the cell phone messages there in the text, they had, I think it was Jontay Porter who said, "Hey, is this going to be one of those RICO things?" And I was like, "Well, that's not what criminals do. You don't text each other the actual name of the crime and put it out there in print." So yeah, this wasn't a great situation for everyone involved, and that was another situation where you just go, man, I know Jontay Porter wasn't that good, but you just threw away your whole career.
Yeah.
And at least though he amassed some pretty sizable debts, and you think, oh, just ask your brother. He just signed $100 and some million contract, but it didn't quite work that way.
No, too proud to ask, I guess. We got a minute left. Do you think Brandon Aiyuk gets extended? Do you think that ends up happening, Matt? He's like sort of in that not the top, not the bottom category.
Yeah, I think he wants big money, and the 49ers let a bunch of other receivers sign for a good amount of money. It's a little weird to me that they are re-upping a lot of guys before they take care of him. But yeah, I think this one's going to play out for a while, and we'll see where it's at, but closer to the end of summer.
All right, Matt, great to see you. Thanks for coming on.
All right, thank you.